Americans spend nearly $1 billion a year on one supplement, convinced it'll reverse aging at the cellular level. Influencers swear by it. A Harvard professor built his career on it. There's just one problem. When researchers finally tested it in humans, the results were almost nothing. And the professor who made it famous? He co-founded the company trying to turn it into a prescription drug. Welcome to Second Prime, where science meets your second chapter. Today, we're pulling apart the NMN and NAD+ supplement industry piece by piece. The real science, the broken promises, who's making millions, and the free alternatives nobody's selling you. By the end, you'll know exactly whether NMN is worth your money. Let's get into it. Welcome to Second Prime, where science meets your second chapter. Today, we're diving deep into biological age testing, what it actually measures, which tests are worth your time and money, and most importantly, how to lower your score. This one could genuinely change how you think about getting older. So, how did one molecule become $1 billion supplement? 2 words. David Sinclair. In 2013, Sinclair's Harvard lab published a landmark study showing that NMN, a precursor that converts into NAD+, dramatically reversed aging markers in mice. Old mice, given NMN, had muscles that looked like young mice. Their energy improved. Their cells repaired DNA faster. It was genuinely exciting science. Then Sinclair wrote the bestseller Lifespan, went on Joe Rogan, and suddenly everyone over 50 was ordering NMN capsules on Amazon. I was skeptical about this one, because what works in mice rarely translates to humans, and that's exactly what happened. Here's where Johnson's story starts to crack. He claims he's reversed his biological age by over 5 years. He says his heart functions like a 37-year-old and his lungs like a 21-year-old. Sounds incredible, right? But Morgan Levine, the PhD who actually pioneered the epigenetic clocks Johnson uses, says he's misusing her own science. These clocks measure your rate of aging. They don't give you a fixed number you can subtract from your birth certificate. His famous claim of reducing his pace of aging by 31 years, Levine calls it unsubstantiated. His Dunedin pace score of 0.69 means he's aging at about 69% of the normal rate. That's genuinely impressive. But it's not the same thing as being 31 years younger. Big difference. Now, here's the part that really got me. Newman looked at the actual diets in these so-called blue zones, and the data flatly contradicts the marketing. Take Okinawa, probably the most famous blue zone of all. Buettner promoted it as a plant-based paradise, built on sweet potatoes and vegetables. You've probably seen the infographics, but according to the Japanese government's own national survey data, Okinawans actually eat the fewest vegetables of any Japanese prefecture. They also have the highest BMI in Japan. I know, that's hard to square with the longevity paradise image. And here's the kicker. Okinawa's longevity rankings collapsed. In 1985, Okinawan men ranked first in Japan for life expectancy. By 2020, they dropped to 43rd out of 47 prefectures. The longevity advantage vanished. The longevity diet didn't hold up once you actually compared it against the government's own data instead of the Blue Zone's branding. Then there's what the internet calls Ozempic face. You've probably seen the photos. People who lost weight but suddenly look 10 years older. hollow cheeks, sunken temples, sagging jawlines. Here's what's actually happening. When you lose weight rapidly, you don't get to choose where the fat comes from. Your face loses its subcutaneous fat, the padding that keeps skin looking full and youthful. At the same time, rapid weight loss tanks your collagen and elastin production. So you're losing volume and structural support simultaneously. The Cleveland Clinic points out this isn't technically a side effect of the drug. It's a consequence of fast weight loss. But let's be honest, Ozempic causes some of the fastest weight loss we've ever seen in medicine. The drug that's supposed to make you biologically younger can literally make you look a decade older. That's not just ironic. It's the longevity paradox in a nutshell. Now here's the part that really shook me. Johnson launched a supplement trial with roughly 1,700 participants taking his blueprint stack. The New York Times got hold of internal documents. What they found wasn't pretty. 60% of participants reported at least one side effect. Some experienced dropping testosterone levels. Others developed pre-diabetic blood markers. Internal emails from Blueprint employees described, and I'm quoting, tons of people saying it's causing nausea, bloating, and participants saying it's making them sick. Johnson promised to release the full results by mid-2024. Instead, he cherry-picked data from just 300 of the 1,700 participants, less than a fifth, and published only the positive findings. In science, selectively releasing data is a massive red flag. Now, before I get to what actually does work in Johnson's protocol, and trust me, there are pieces worth stealing. If you're enjoying this breakdown, hit subscribe. We put out science-backed longevity content every Monday and Thursday. No hype, no guru worship, just evidence. All right, let's get to the good part. A prominent liver specialist, Dr. Cyriac Abbey Phillips, publicly called Johnson a fraud and compared him to Elizabeth Holmes and Belle Gibson. Strong words. But here's a more balanced take. Johnson isn't faking his data. He's overstating what it means. His biomarkers are genuinely impressive. He's got a VO2 max that puts him in the top tier for his age. Almost zero inflammation. Excellent cholesterol. Those are real numbers. But he presents a 100-variable protocol as if every piece matters equally, when the evidence strongly suggests 5 or 6 things are doing all the heavy lifting. Meanwhile, his company Blueprint was valued at $40 million, but hemorrhaged $1 million every single month. By mid-2025, Johnson stepped down as CEO and considered shutting it down. He called it a pain-in-the-ass company. The business side tells its own story. Quick detour into the regulatory circus. In late 2022, the FDA banned NMN as a supplement because Metro Biotech had registered it as an investigational drug. Supplement companies sued. The Natural Products Association filed a federal lawsuit, and in September 2025, the FDA reversed itself, declaring NMN lawful again. Why? Because evidence showed NMN had been sold as a supplement since at least 2017, before it was ever registered as a drug. The ban was never about safety. It was never about whether NMN works. It was about who gets to sell it and at what price. The whole episode tells you everything about how the supplement industry actually functions. But it's not just one study. The broader research all points to the same playbook. The Mediterranean diet has the strongest evidence for slowing biological aging. It consistently shows younger epigenetic age in people who stick with it. Plenty of olive oil, fatty fish, vegetables, nuts, and whole grains. Exercise is massive, and you don't need to run marathons. A combination of aerobic activity and resistance training reduced biological aging markers across multiple studies. Even walking at a brisk pace made a measurable difference. Sleep below 7 hours accelerates epigenetic aging. Chronic stress does the same. Cortisol literally changes your methylation patterns. And here's one that doesn't get enough attention: social connection. Loneliness accelerates biological aging at a rate comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. That's not a metaphor, that's from the research. So the prescription looks something like this: eat mostly plants, move your body daily, lift something heavy twice a week, sleep 7+ hours, manage stress, and stay connected to people who matter. Not flashy, not expensive, but the data says it works. So, what do you do if you're already on Ozempic or thinking about it? The research is clear on one thing: resistance training is non-negotiable. Not walking, not yoga. Resistance training. A 2025 case series published in PMC on GLP-1 muscle preservation found that structured strength training 2 to 3 times a week can significantly reduce lean mass loss during treatment. Some patients actually gained muscle while on semaglutide, as long as they were lifting consistently. Then there's protein. The Endocrine Society presented data at Endo 2025 showing that higher protein intake, specifically 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight daily, protected against muscle loss in GLP-1 patients. Older adults and women were most vulnerable to muscle loss, and protein made the biggest difference for them. For a 170-pound person, that's roughly 90 to 115 grams of protein a day. Think chicken breast, Greek yogurt, eggs, fish. Creatine is another tool worth discussing with your doctor. A 2023 meta-analysis in the Journal of the International Society of Sports Nutrition found that creatine supplementation combined with resistance training improved lean mass and upper body strength significantly in adults over 50. 5 grams a day. Cheap, well-researched, and widely available. And just so you know, some of the links in the description are affiliate links. Doesn't cost you anything extra, but it helps support the channel. So that's the uncomfortable truth about NMN. The science behind NAD+ is real, but the supplements haven't delivered on the promise. Have you tried NAD+ supplements? Did you notice any difference? Or did you feel like you were throwing money away? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one, and I'll pin the best responses. And if you want to know which exercises actually extend your lifespan, back